The open ocean has a way of opening your mind to the possibility of the impossible. It is Dr. Phil Hayden's guiding light, his sail around the world's oceans, fueled by those who will join him in spirit and virtually.
Tyler from South Africa, or Lee, or whoever it is, talk about their challenge, what they're doing, and then I ask them questions. I say, Lee, how's the bike riding? Have you managed to get both feet off the ground yet?
What ties them all together, they are among the estimated 50 million people around the world living with epilepsy, and part of the One More Step program that encourages everyone to take a step forward. Dr. Hayden is sailing around the world with Sail for Epilepsy to both educate and inspire. He says every rough sea, every incredible sunset is a reflection of his own journey.
I was 15 and it was the last day of school. I was riding my bike home. Next day we were going on vacation and somebody threw a house brick and hit me in the forehead, and I was rushed to Oxford University Hospital.
Within an hour of surgery, Phil had his first in a series of seizures. His need for medication didn't dampen his spirit, but the memory issues it caused made school a challenge.
I made it through, by the skin of my teeth. I made it to university by the skin of my teeth.
He tells us thanks to a heavy dose of personal stubbornness, encouragement from his family, and words of wisdom from his own grandmother, he kept reaching for the next out-of-touch goal.
I can and I will. When I was struggling, she'd say, Phil, I can and I will. And it was her way of pushing me forward.
Dr. Phil Hayden didn't just make it through. He would go on to become the chair of the Department of Neuroscience at Tufts University School of Medicine. But his now medically controlled epilepsy would remain unknown to those around him for many years.
For most of my life, I hid it. I really wouldn't talk about it. In 2011 was really when I turned things around. I had an allergic reaction to one of my medications. It's a very bad inflammatory reaction that has 50% lethality. And I'm laying in bed and I'm starting to think, well, if in my stage of my life and my career, if I can't talk about it, who can?
What once was something Phil kept behind him is now his anchor.
This is personal, and I'm here wanting to communicate with them.
He stops in ports around the world and holds education seminars to combat the stigma surrounding epilepsy and the fear.
Seeing someone having a convulsive seizure, it's scary if you don't know what it is. Any medical condition, be there for people and try to understand, don't be scared. Sail for Epilepsy, we have two major missions. One is to educate the general public. What is epilepsy? What do you do to help someone? And the other is to inspire people with epilepsy to do more in their lifetimes.
A wave of names on the boat's hull represent virtual shipmates who have joined Phil in taking that one more step. People like Abigail from Rhode Island, who wants to walk on her own someday, or Eddie from England, who wants to walk 100 kilometers. Anthony from Milford, Connecticut, a 6-year-old who wants to show up brave in face of medical treatments. And Brandon from Somerset, Mass, who wants to write a second book about his life. Shonda Gunn, a former medal-winning Olympian. Shonda's epilepsy has thrown her far off course, limited in her physical capacity, but taking one more step toward her future.
She could not walk a city block on her own. And she decided to take the one more step, and she walked one block. How amazing is that?
It is a journey of hope for those who have been lost to epilepsy and those fighting back to live fuller lives.
Set goals and find ways to put safety guardrails in place to allow you to attempt them. Whether you succeed in that goal, I think, is irrelevant. It's the fact you set a goal and you've attempted.
Wow, it's incredible. And after completing his North Atlantic crossing, Phil took a couple weeks off to spend some time with his family, which is wonderful. But pretty soon he's heading back out and completing the global journey.
That's right. What really struck me, Anthony, about Dr. Hayden and this whole journey is how important it is, if you're facing an obstacle, in this case, an illness, is to not do it alone. This is about education, but it's also about connecting.
He's doing an incredible job.